And welcome to a new episode of the Red Mountain Express. I'm your host, Blake Westbrook. Joining me, as he has in the past, how many weeks now has this been?
I don't know, 6.
Patrick
5.
Tucker. Good to see you, bud.
Good to see you.
How's your week been so far?
So far, it's been great.
So you're telling me off the air you became a plumber this weekend.
I had to do some minor plumbing, but I have a new appreciation for plumbers and do not want to be one ever.
You said it was your kid's bathroom?
Yeah, the kids' bathroom sink wasn't draining, so I was under there yesterday taking it apart and scraping out sludge and God knows what that the kids have put down there.
And did you have to run the water to make sure it wasn't leaking and find a leak and have to tighten it here?
No, I actually got it apart and back together without any. Well, I mean, it could be leaking now, but I think I managed to get it all apart, cleaned out, and back together with no leaks. So huge personal man win for the day.
I remember one time, I think I was 18 years old, and we were at my family had a beach house in Panama City. And we were down there for spring break, and my parents were down there and everything like that. And one day, we couldn't flush the toilets for some reason. We're like, oh my God,
House full of people.
Yeah, so it was just my mom was down there, my dad wasn't down there, and so we called my grandfather, who he was basically came down and fixed everything. We're like, hey, something's wrong, the toilets won't flush. And he's like, well, I'll be down there in about an hour and a half, just give me a couple minutes. And we're like, no, this is spring break, we're a bunch of 18-year-olds, that's the last thing you want is your grandfather coming down there. So I had to crawl up under the house. We looked, and apparently a pipe that was connected to one of the toilets had fallen off and come loose, and had to clean up the stuff that had been flowing out.
Oh, that's fun.
And then I had to reconnect the pipe and get it working, and finally did all that and got it fixed.
It's the best spring break ever.
Best spring break ever to keep my grandfather coming down there, because he probably would have stayed a couple days after that. So
I got it, Granddad. I got it.
We fixed it, man.
Good.
But that's awful.
Yeah.
But I mean, glad it got fixed, and so your
sink's
draining and everything.
Save that call to the plumber. Save that extra little bit of cash.
I can't imagine.
Home repairs, the joy of home ownership. It's the things they don't tell you about.
That's exactly right. Oh, I'm buying a house, and then as soon as you get into it, something breaks.
Yeah, it's like, I can't just call the landlord anymore.
No, and you have to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What'd you do this weekend?
Well, we went to Demopolis. I think I said this last week. My little brother's about to be posted in Italy, and so we went over there to see my grandmother, my mom's mom, and so we went over there. There was a shower for my cousin's fiance, and then we kind of tooled around the boat on the Tom Bigby, which was kind of fun.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, but it was.
Did you get rained on?
We didn't actually.
That's amazing.
We were actually on the river, and you could see the clouds rolling in. And my uncle goes, well, if this cloud heads down the black water, we'll be just fine. But if it comes straight for us, we won't get wet. And the whole time we're looking at that cloud, and guess what? Went down the black water. We didn't get wet, so it was nice. Good. Yeah, but no, it was a good week. We, my wife and I, last Sunday went to Bratbrot. That's the right way of saying it, right?
I think that's what I've heard.
Yeah, we went there, and I know we've talked about this before, but that place is awesome.
Yeah, so this is over in the old Plan Odyssey building, right?
Right.
I haven't had a chance to go there yet. I've heard lots of people talking about it and say it's awesome atmosphere and
atmosphere
is
great. Yeah, they have a bunch of picnic style tables there. They have a bunch of good beer. They weren't serving food when I was there because I think they were getting ready for something else. But from everybody I've talked to that's actually eaten there, to say it's great. So I'm planning to go back here in the next week or so.
Good beer selection.
Very good beer selection. And they have some stuff that I haven't seen around town before. So
yeah, that's very cool. I think I said this on the podcast. My brother-in-law's from Milwaukee, so when my sister told him there was a bratwurst place in town, he was like, no, there's not. He's like, no, really, there is.
They have bratwurst. I looked at the menu. They have the thing called the Birmingham burger, which kind of shocks me that that's the first time I've heard that alliteration.
I think there's one called something like that at the. Is it the Magic City Burger
yeah, it's a Magic City Burger. It has an egg and stuff on it.
At the Regents Field?
Yeah. But it was good. We were indoors because it'd been raining for the last 7 days, so it's been raining that day. And we sat on the indoors part. We actually saw a friend of mine, and then there's an outdoor area where they have tables and stuff that you can hang out there too. But
it's a big space, right?
It's huge.
Yeah,
it's really, really big. But
maybe we'll get to go down there and do the podcast from there one day.
We should do that and eat some bratwurst.
Exactly.
They do when they're not serving food in the kitchen. They do have pretzels. Awesome. So, but it was good. In other food news, I went to Saul's Juke Joint I think it was on Thursday night.
I saw a picture of this.
Did you? Okay.
It looks so good.
So they had a jambalaya burger, and I'm going to tell you right now, it was one of the best things I've ever eaten in my life.
That's awesome.
So the patty is made of chicken and andouille sausage, and then they cover it with blackened shrimp and some remoulade sauce, and then, oh, dude,
Sounds pretty good.
It's
I'd
really
eat
good.
one.
Yeah, it was good. Only thing that was missing is JD and the Man wasn't playing at Saul's Juke Joint, because I know he plays there, every other night, but he wasn't there that night. So, yeah, it was good. So now I'm just preparing. I have to go to Orlando for a whole week.
What are you doing down there? Work?
Work. Yeah, I'm not going to Disney World or anything like that. So
hopefully you won't be inundated on the flight with a bunch of kids going.
I'm leaving at 6 a.m. So hopefully people are not foolish enough to take their kids at 6 a.m.
on the Magic Express down there
man.
at Disney World.
I remember, and this is not a joke, a couple years ago, I was on the way down there, and I left like an afternoon flight, which was the worst thing ever. And it was the flight from Atlanta into Orlando, and there were these three girls sitting behind me talking about what was better, Harry Potter or Disney World. And like, it was nonstop for an hour.
Which one won?
I think
this is like you and Matt going back and forth on Star Wars.
I think Disney won, because if you ever met someone who loves Disney, it's a ridiculous thing.
It's a disease.
It is a disease. So, but they just talked about it over and over again, and that evolved into which was the best Harry Potter book, and I had to turn around. I had to turn around and say that they didn't know what the hell they were talking about, and then but it was
clearly book 6 was the bet.
Clearly, you haven't read The Deathly Hallows, have you, little girl? But so be fun flying tomorrow and getting down there where it's going to be 110 degrees. So,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah, but had a good week, and now we're sitting here recording this podcast, and Matthew's listening far, far away, probably wondering to himself what we're talking about. So,
cradling a baby, hopefully rocking it to sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to see the baby for the first time?
I did. I got to meet the baby, Ben.
Ben, and he's a cute baby.
He's an adorable baby.
Yeah. So we wish him well, and I am sure that he will be joining us at some point in the near future. So until then, we miss him, and hopefully he comes back to us as soon as possible. But with that, let's take a little break. Let's hear from our friends over at Beach and Woodworks, and we'll be back after the break. Beach and Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beach and Woodworks creates affordable quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beach and Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And welcome back to the second half of the latest episode of Red Mountain Express. In some sad news, Silvertron, located in Forest Park, who has been open for about 32 years, is closing. Actually, they've already closed, I think. Yeah. I believe they had a family member that was getting sick, and they've moved back to Italy.
Right.
But I used to love that. I love that place. Yeah. It was wonderful.
I mean, it's been around in Birmingham. I mean, 32 years is for a restaurant is incredibly long. I think they did close at one point and actually move to their current location.
So they haven't always been in that building?
Either I can't remember if they moved or if, I think at one point they moved, and then that location I think maybe closed for briefly and changed ownerships or whatever. But I think, I mean, they've been around for a long time. They've managed to stick around. So
it was one of the first restaurants that I actually went to when I moved to Birmingham, because my wife had been there a ton, and we went over there, and I think I loved the chicken parm that was there. They had a buffalo chicken wrap that I loved. They have a bunch of good burgers, and then Megan used to go to brunch there all the time.
Yeah, I remember going to brunch there a few times, mimosas and sitting around having good conversations. It's a great spot over in Lakeview.
Yeah, maybe somebody will buy it and open it back up, but if not, I think we said off the air, maybe Little Savannah will
I could see them expanding into that space. I don't know if they would, but probably a bigger kitchen and all that, but
more seating space, I guess.
But
too.
Yeah, I mean, another restaurant in there. Which, I mean, they've had a few things close over there. Obviously, V. Richards closed, a couple of years ago, I guess.
Yeah, and now it's going to be...
I don't remember the name of the place that's going in there, but I know it was the same people that did the Shindig's food truck.
Right.
Were supposed to be opening up a place, and they kind of stalled for a while, and now I think they've really picked up
steam. That's a big building for someone to move into. I mean, because it was a grocery store and it had a little restaurant attached to it. Yeah. So, for anybody to take over, that's a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
So.
I remember it as it used to be the pharmacy or whatever way back in the day. My grandma lived over in that neighborhood. We used to walk there, so that's a cool spot.
Yeah, but so they've closed, and hope everything turns out well for them moving back to Italy. But it didn't close because of lack of patronage. It closed because they had to move away. But I'm sure there'll be something good that'll open up in that area. When it does, we'll let you know.
So speaking of other things opening up, down in the more Lakeview or I would say Pepper Place area.
Right.
There's a new axe throwing place coming to that area.
Okay, so there's one, I think, in Huntsville.
Right.
Is this the same folks?
Yeah, this is the same folks from Huntsville. They're opening up at 3004 4th Avenue in Birmingham. And this is their second location. They were opening up in Huntsville, and it looks like a pretty cool thing. Have you ever done this?
No, I want to. I'm kind of scared to throw an axe.
It looks like fun. I've seen several of my friends post pictures of this. I think there's actually one at the Autobahn place out in Bessemer, the indoor speedway with the electric go-karts.
So you can go race go-karts and then go throw some
axes. Yeah, my cousin actually posted a picture from there the other day.
Where did this come from? I mean, this came out of nowhere where it was like people were like wanting to throw axes.
I had seen also some friends in Atlanta that have been doing this. I don't know where this came from, but it seems to be growing in popularity.
Yeah, and you said it's near Trim Tab, is that right?
Yeah, so it's right. It's basically in between Frontera and Hop City.
So when you decide you don't like the beer over there, you can just go across the street and
or you can go to Hop City. Yeah, you can go to Hop City. Actually, they said they're not serving any food or drinks there, but you can bring your own refreshments.
That's just. They allow you to bring beer though?
It says refreshments. I don't.
Man,
I'm assuming that's
not
okay.
a good idea. That's not a good idea.
Walk from go over to Hop City, grab some beer, and then go drink and throw axes.
I'm here to throw axes. Like, no,
I'm sure they have a right to refuse service to anyone
I
who
bet
has
they
been
do.
drinking too much, and you probably have to sign a very strong waiver before you go in there and start throwing axes.
So do you know when this opens, or is it's just coming soon? Is that kind of what the story says?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see an opening date, but yeah, coming soon. I think this will be fun. I can't wait to go throw some axes. They say it's a great therapy session.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I can imagine if you work down there, just getting off work and just being like, I'm going to throw some axes. This day is done.
I mean, you hear about, you know what, that's it. I'm just going to throw some axes and just kind of blow off some steam. You going to go to Trim Tab across the street? No, I'm not going to do that. But anyway. Well, there's another bar coming to the Pepper Place area. It's called Lumbar,
which I think is an awesome name.
It is. It's open. You said it was a father-daughter team. Is that right?
Yeah, I think Riley and I have the names right now. Riley and Tim Hightower is a father-daughter team. I think Riley graduated from UAB.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, but they're not from here, right? They're from like New Mexico or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So the menu I think is going to be kind of more New Mexico themed with like green chilies and that sort of thing.
Sounds good to me.
It sounds really good to me, but it's a science-based bar,
right? Yes,
which I think is really cool.
So I was reading the story. I think it was in the Biz Journal that they're going to have 26 beer taps, but they're going to be they're going to be on like a shape of a spine, which is really
weird.
Cool. I don't know. That's cool. They're also going to have like lab tables, is like what the bar is going to look like. And
I wonder if everything's going to be very ergonomically set up, so like your bar stools will give you like nice back support.
I know that'd be so uncomfortable for me because I have terrible I hunch. So, but yeah, they'll have foods. I think it's like burgers and hot dogs and stuff.
Right.
But they're also doing a really cool thing, which I like. They're going to have like these private spaces.
Yeah, they're calling it like the incubator, which is basically like private rooms, or they said maybe glass rooms with dry erase markers, so you can write on the glass walls and people can kind of see, watch as teams work and write stuff out. I think it was kind of cool. They were basically saying that while she was in grad school, that there weren't a lot of these places where teams could meet up and really talk through this. So I think it's a cool idea to have basically a meeting space with a bar and a restaurant attached.
Well, I mean, we go to certain things sometimes that require meeting space, and it's always noisy and stuff. So it's going to open, I think, by the end of July, maybe early August.
Yeah.
But
this is also right at Pepper Place, right?
Yeah, which is kind of a growing theme to our episode this week.
Here.
Yeah,
there's a lot of activity.
Yeah,
going
because
on
you were telling me there's another restaurant opening.
Yeah, a place called Blueprint on 3rd, which is actually in the old Birmingham Blueprint Company building. They're turning that into a restaurant, and it's actually a guy, Dean Robb, who formerly worked at Bottega and then I think opened Dodio's.
Oh, the Greek place in Homewood.
Greek place that was in Homewood. I think they've closed, but and I think he worked as maybe a VP for Tzatziki's for the last few years.
Oh, okay.
But now he's opening.
But this is not Greek, though, right? This is more Southern cuisine.
Greek. I think he's kind of described it as an American brasserie, where he's taking like kind of great meals from all over the country, from San Francisco or Chicago.
Hey man, I saw grits on the menu, so
yeah, so maybe some
good.
Southern stuff too. But it's just kind of a combination of different things from different places, which it sounds like a pretty cool. I don't think we have anything like that in the city where. And
I saw that he was actually at Pepper Place doing one of their salad demonstrations, and they were planning on open May 1st, but they're not open yet.
I don't think they're open yet. I actually had trouble finding a website for them, but I've seen a couple of articles and talked to some folks. I don't think they're open yet, but coming soon, maybe this summer, hopefully soon.
Well, we need another good restaurant in town. I mean,
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, this is all kind of connected to right at Pepper Place. And there was another thing going on at Pepper Place too. We had somebody else in town.
Yeah,
right?
so if you've ever seen the show Bizarre Foods, and
which I have,
and then there's like foods. He also did foods that will kill you or something like that, or dead.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, but Andrew Zimmern was in town. He has a new show called The Zimmern List, and basically it's his list of like. Of great foods and towns and places that has to be on your list when you travel. He's been to places like Atlanta, New Orleans, New York, Nashville, Portland, both Oregon and Maine on both coasts,
right.
And then and a bunch of other cities. And he came to Birmingham, and this
awesome.
is his second time. He's been to Birmingham before too.
He has. He came before. And was that with Bizarre Foods or was that with something else?
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was Bizarre Foods.
It wasn't with Bizarre Foods. I mean, I don't think he's going to go to barbecue and call it Bizarre Food.
Right.
Yeah.
So he had, I guess, another show going on where he came and went to like Miss Myra's and a few other places in town. But he's come back. I saw pictures of tweets of him with Frank Stitt down at Pepper Place.
Yeah. He was hanging with Frank Stitt, and it was featuring some of the food at their restaurant. And then they went to Pepper Place actually,
right.
And they had a camera crew there, and
at the farmers market.
At the farmers market, right? And I know his team had been in town for like a week doing some B-roll footage of Birmingham, which. You kind of hated they came on the week that it rained the whole time, but I think they got some good. I think they got some good weather the last time around. But so he recorded a new show, or it's going to be featured in one of his shows. I guess about Birmingham, him and Frank Stitt. But there was something cool he did. He tweeted out this past week a really good compliment of Birmingham. I'll read it to you. You can follow him at Andrew Zimmern at Andrew Zimmern, but it's. I'm on the road 230 days a year at minimum, 40, 50 cities in the United States. I never get a nice welcome as I do in Birmingham. People stop their cars, pause on the street, or use social media and actually say, nice to have you back. It's amazing. I love the Birmingham people. Thank you for the love. And he did that this past week. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, come on, guys.
This guy travels all over the world. I mean, to say that about a city...
Yeah,
I think that says a lot.
And he was here for a day. It wasn't like he was spending the week here. I mean, he was here for the day, and the fact that people take their time to say welcome to the city, that says a lot.
Yeah, I think it's very cool.
See, Amazon, we would have said that to you if you'd have come to town, which they actually might do the little...
They might be coming to Bessemer. I've heard more and more about that. I think they officially kind of had to announce that...
Do some incentives, I think.
For the purpose of doing incentives, that it was Amazon and what space they were looking at and all that. So... I think that's moving forward. Hopefully that will come to fruition because that's a lot of jobs for that area.
It is a lot of jobs.
It's very cool.
But back to the previous story, he's a James Beard Award winner too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for like his show.
For his show.
Yeah, for his show. So he had two beards right there in Pepper Place.
Yeah.
Frank Stitt.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, but no, that's a good story to have him in town, and we've had a bunch of stuff. We've had a movie filmed in town. We have this show filmed in town, and some other stuff filmed in town. So I think
it's like Hollywood East.
I mean, basically, we might just go ahead and open up a couple movie theaters here in
right.
town and just become the new Hollywood. So
I mean, forget Atlanta. I mean, I know they're recording a lot of stuff over there, but Birmingham's better. Come here.
well, The Walking Dead, which apparently their star is like leaving the show next year. So
Oh, really? So do you watch The Walking Dead?
I used to watch it. I was catching up on like Netflix, and they ended. Spoiler alert, everybody! They were in Alexandria when I quit watching it. And I didn't quit watching out of lack of interest. It was just kind of
I don't know that was a spoiler.
I got busy. Well, I mean, they progressed to Alexandria.
Okay, they get.
I just got busy, and I was watching Game of Thrones at the time, and that was kind of taking all my energy. So
I haven't really watched it, but Liz's uncle and cousin actually live in Atlanta, and he was actually one of the zombies on the show.
Really,
Yeah. So he's one of the people that like, you see him come through, and I think he gets killed in like a church or something. So
they do zombie walks all over this country. You know that, right? Like
where it's like yeah. I think he's been invited to do like these cosplay things and stuff like that, where it's like show up and sign your picture as like a zombie. It's like it's pretty cool though.
Are y'all still watching Homeland?
Liz is.
That's just such a terrible show. Wait. It was great, and then it turned terrible.
So this is
We've probably talked about this before, right?
No, I don't know that we've talked about it on the show. This has become our definition of like now when a show starts out really good and then it gets bad, we say it homelanded. Like, because that's like the definition of. I will say it has. I've kind of seen some of the episodes. It's gotten better.
I'm not going to spoil the show for anybody that's like started this, but there should have been a definite end point of that show. They should have gone ahead and taken the way out, and then they just were like, we're going to keep this going.
Yeah, honestly, after like season 2,
3, I think it was 3. Yeah, end of 3, it should have been done with.
It should have been done, but they were just making money. And now, really, it went really bad for a while, and now it's kind of come back a little bit.
It's like the West Wing. The West Wing was good for solid 4 seasons. Went bad for 2 years and got good the last season, and
people love that shit.
It was amazing. It was amazing. See, this is what always happens. We talk about food on here, then it just divulges into TV and movies.
TV show.
Haven't seen Solo yet, but I did have a friend of mine who is as critical on Star Wars as I am, and he said he loved it. Because Ron Howard doesn't make a bad movie.
Did you see the tweets from Mark Hamill through the month of May?
No, were they good?
So he did like a May the 1st be with you, May the 2nd be better. He did like one for each day in May. And I think the 9th one was May the 9th episode, not ruin anyone's childhood.
I'm going to tell you what. With the last episode,
yeah.
Like here's the thing. Like I thought it was a terrible episode, but when the next episode comes out, I'll be in line to go see it again, and
I'm still going to pay him that money.
Still going to pay him that money. So anyway, well, listen. Thank y'all for listening to our recent episode of the Red Mountain Express. Hope you got some good news out of this. We will be back next week with a new episode after I get back from Orlando. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also go to redmountainexpress.com to leave us any feedback, and also check out the show notes from this past episode. Also, this Tuesday is primary election day, so if you're registered to vote, get out, vote, do your civic duty. If you're not sure where you need to vote at, you can go to myinfo@alabamavotes.gov to find your polling place. So with that, that'll conclude this episode of the Red Mountain Express. For Patrick Tucker, I'm Blake Westbrook. We'll see you next week.